Our correspondent in Hong Kong, Oliver Farry, joins us now. Oliver, did this announcement that Lam was stepping down come as a surprise?
Well, it would not have been unthinkable for Carrie Lam to continue, but it probably would have been more surprising if she did. So, in short, it's not particularly surprising that she decided not to continue on. Her predecessor, C.Y. Leung, also stepped down after only 5 years in the job, a single term. Carrie Lam has been in office since 2017. The first 2 years were quite uneventful, but it was when her government tried to introduce an extradition law that could have seen Hong Kongers extradited for crimes to mainland China that sparked off huge protests, which our government had real trouble reacting to. And pro-Beijing parties also got a crushing defeat in the district council elections in 2019. Carrie Lam allegedly, according to reports in media here, offered her resignation twice to Beijing during that time, and apparently it was rejected. Now, she has rejected and dismissed those allegations, but there is audio in existence where she did tell a private audience that happened. Now, ever since Beijing introduced the national security law in early 2020, Carrie Lam became far more comfortable in the job. She became far more bullish in her dealings with police, or with the press rather. And it seemed that once she was freed of the decorum of a democratically accountable leader, she was pretty much a lot more comfortable in the job. Now, there has been another problem that has caused her ratings to drop to an unprecedentedly low 26%. That is the handling of the coronavirus pandemic. The first 2 years, Hong Kong did quite well, but the government failed to vaccinate most of the city's elderly, and that has resulted in over 8,000 deaths in the city over the past 2 months.
Well, Oliver, so now that she's stepping aside, do we know who might replace her?
Well, according to local media yesterday, her number 2, John Lee, is expected to submit his nomination. That would probably put him in the front running. Most of those people who have expressed an interest in running so far don't really have much of a profile, and very few people are taking their candidacies seriously. John Lee, on the other hand, would be somebody who you would expect would be favoured by Beijing. Many analysts believe that during the 2019 protest, it was he, as security secretary, who was effectively running the city. Certainly, he seemed to be calling the shots with regard to the police. He is a former deputy commissioner of police himself. Since last June, he has been chief secretary, which is the number 2 position in the Hong Kong government. Carrie Lam herself occupied that position before becoming chief executive herself. So John Lee certainly looks like somebody who does have the proper credentials, and certainly in the eyes of Beijing, he's somebody who has the right emphasis on security, and they would probably see him as a safe pair of hands. Whether he is actually popular with the Hong Kong people is a different matter, but of course they don't get to decide who gets elected. Only 752 votes will be needed for the next chief executive to be elected on the 10th of May, and it's quite likely that John Lee, if he goes forward, that isn't confirmed yet, he would get those 752 votes.
Okay, our correspondent in Hong Kong, Oliver Farry, reporting for us. Thanks so much, Oliver.